That's right. This is pathos. Babies are not ethical beings. They don't understand ethics and morality, really. They just have their wants, and they think that things are unfair when they don't get what they want. And it's not logos, because it's not talking to you about the things that make their tire safe. It's a pathos argument. It's arguing that because you don't want the baby to die, you should drive on Michelin tires. So, again, this is pathos. Here's another piece of advertising. This is about 110-year-old Coke advertising. This is an attempt to use logos, ethos, or pathos to convince you to spend money in a certain way. That is what advertising is. So they're using rhetoric to get you to spend money in a certain way. That's what advertising is. Propaganda is information that is not objective and is used primarily to influence the audience and further an agenda. Generally, this is used for political persuasion. An appeal to pathos, logos, or ethos in a hopes of influencing the thinking or behavior of a group in a specific way. Propaganda generally is not about spending money. It's about making you vote or behave in a certain way. That's what propaganda is about. So is this propaganda or advertising? This is the four freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. American propaganda that supported the Allies in World War II. It came from the Atlantic doctrine. That was something that FDR came up with Churchill, what the Allies were for. They were for freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. How about this? Lamborghini. Is this propaganda or advertising? Yep. It's an ad. What type of persuasion does this advertisement use? Okay, some of you are going to argue that it's pathos because it's appealing to your emotion of I want one. But it's also appealing to your logos. It's telling you specific information that makes this car so cool. It's built in Italy. It's extreme Italian values and reasons why every single Lamborghini breathtakingly unique. So it's the argument that you want something that not everybody else has. It tells you also the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 2.9 seconds. 700 horsepower. This is all logos arguments. But yes, I can see that you're like, oh man, Lamborghini, me want. Pathos. But it's generally a logos argument. All right. Is this propaganda or advertising? Propaganda or advertising? Yes, this is an advertisement. They got rid of cigarette advertisements in magazines when I was in third grade. But cigarettes were given out for free to soldiers in World War II. And many veterans became addicted to the cigarettes because they were free in World War II. And many veterans of World War II ended up contracting lung cancer as a result of their smoking that they started in World War II. How about this? America First. Propaganda or advertising? Propaganda or advertising? It is, in fact, propaganda. It's propaganda that was supported by the Nazis and aimed at Americans before World War II. The German-American Bund was a pro-German, Nazi, pro-fascist organization in the United States in the 1930s and early 1940s. A friend of mine, when I was growing up, he was a friend of mine. He was a neighbor who was old enough to be around in World War II. When he was 14 in 1941, he went to a German-American Bund party because there was free beer and girls. And he figured, hey, I'm 14. I care about free beer and girls. So they were actually giving out free beer to 14-year-olds. So it tells you something about the ethos of the German-American Bund, whose slogan was America First. So here's another piece of information. We'll see if you guys can determine whether it's